Hello and welcome. I am Gimba Umar. On Roadmap this week, the wooing of the electorate gets even more interesting and intense. While the elections are just a couple of days away for Nigerians to decide who leads them from May 29th. Well, this is what we know so far. The top contenders need no introduction. President Goodluck Jonathan and General Muhammadu Buhari are using every available opportunity to outwit each other as elections draws closer. Now, they want to win your vote by all means. Take a look at this. A series of town hall meetings in the south by the APC, where Buhari is promising better life for the women by empowering them and forming laws that protects women against violence.
APC government under my leadership is therefore committed to the following. A, ensure that gender is mainstreamed throughout all government commitments in key areas such as economy, education, health, security, good governance, power, agriculture, and other areas of national development.
And then to other pressing issues as projected on the wide screen.
Things, and they are all selfish and nothing will change. But is that really true? It is not. Many people ask me, why am I running for office again? And I ask them, what has changed since I began this mission? Can you honestly, truly say to yourself that our country has changed for the better? Are our children safe when they go to school? Are our parents safe when we leave them at home? Is the naira in your bank account of greater value today than it was 4 years ago?
Well, the president on his part, or for the PDP if you prefer, had a field week as well. And it certainly wasn't business as usual. When push came to shove, the president handled it in the rub-a-dub style.
Artists are not getting the maximum benefits from their effort. And it's a problem to government, a problem to the artists, it's a problem to society. Because if people must be in the industry and be creative, then definitely they should benefit.
But this didn't deter the opposition party, the APC. The kids were also roped into the campaign web.
My mommy said that I can donate from 100 so that we can help APC to raise the money to win the election and remove President Goodluck Jonathan so that Mr. Buhari and Professor Osinbajo can be the new president and assistant president.
And then the APC campaign train moved on to the south. It was all hail to Aisha, the wife of the general who was meeting with women to campaign for her husband.
General Muhammadu Buhari is a leader. He was a leader. He led Nigeria some decades ago, and he's coming back now to sanitize the system. For those that are campaigning, saying that he is coming to jail Nigerians, I don't know what's their fear, but they shouldn't, because we're all yearning for change.
But Patience Jonathan was not to be left behind as she campaigns for her own husband in Lagos.
I want you to know if you vote PDP, you will never regret it. PDP, you will never regret it. Because they will touch your donuts.
Well, they also had a point to prove, or so it seems. The president in this attire assured that the conflict between farmers and Fulani herdsmen will stop.
For the cattle rearers, sometimes this migration leads to a clash between farmers and the cattle rearers. These clashes have not really helped us. So government must work with you to make sure that we develop places where people can stay, get water, get good grass, get everything for the animals.
And then he moved to Yobe, up north, promising the people that Boko Haram will be defeated.
As we are talking today, there's no territory in Yobe State that is in the hands of Boko Haram again. And federal government would not allow them to take over any territory in Yobe State again.
And more salvos were fired against the APC.
Our attention has been drawn to the existence of an illegal radio station called APC Radio or Radio Changi. This radio station has been broadcasting falsehood, propaganda, and inciting comments periodically over the last few days and since inception. We see this opportunity to call on the Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation, the NBC, to set its house in order while ensuring that its rules are followed.
And now it becomes increasingly difficult to figure out whose campaign makes even more sense. My guest on Roadmap, the Sarkin Hausawa, a traditional leader for the Hausa community in Lagos, which is close to 1 million Arewa people of northern extraction in the country living in Lagos. Also, Chief Godi Uwazuruke, the president of the Akai Kenga, an Igbo community with an equally large followership in Lagos. They both spoke to me in 2 separate interviews. They shared divergent views on how tradition comes to play in the 2015 general elections. We'll listen to them in just a bit, but first, it's arguably the top story for this week. INEC says that it is prepared for the elections now more than ever before.
Commissions and embassies.
This is a special meeting between the Independent National Electoral Commission, security agencies and the elections observer groups ahead of the general elections commencing next week. The focus, however, is on the observer groups as the INEC chairman takes time to emphasize the roles and requirements for this election.
An election monitor is an integral part of the election management structure and has a role in the administration of the election. In Nigeria, only the Independent National Electoral Commission and its duly authorized personnel are empowered to monitor elections. An observer, on the other hand, does not have any role in the administration of the election, nor any control or oversight functions.
Professor Jega also restated his earlier position that the elections will hold as scheduled.
I am aware that there are still lingering concerns on whether the elections will hold or not. Let me say that as far as INEC is concerned, these elections will hold as scheduled.
Meanwhile, some observers have mixed feelings about the criteria announced by the electoral body.
In most other parts of the world, observers are there to watch and to take note. I was in Tunisia back in November, and I was there to watch and take notes. And the commission there made sure that we had the space we needed to talk to the presiding officers and also with the voters. And I expect the same will be done with INEC, that they will provide the space needed for the observers to be able to get the information they need to put into their report.
To me, it's a traditional thing. It's a normal thing to abide by the guidelines. He has only reiterated what is in the guidelines, the code of conduct for the elections observers.
Away from the observers and the Electoral Commission, the police also gave the assurance for the protection of lives and properties during the polls.
We will be there to protect you. We will be there to prevent anyone from disrupting the elections.
After all said and done, it appears the nation's electoral empire is set for the conduct of the general elections, scheduled to begin next week.
Well, that report sets the pace for Roadmap. Feel free to interact with us on our social media platforms. Tweet now on Channels TV and at Gimba003. We'd like to know your thoughts on the issues raised here on Roadmap. Well, in my 2 interviews with the traditional leaders, I started by asking the Hausa traditional ruler if tradition has a role to play in this elections. and what he makes of seeing the traditional regalia of the northern chiefs in the center of political campaigns.
You dare not call yourself Sarkin Hausawa or a leader of anything that is not political, and then you commence political commercial activities with this. I don't think it's fair. When I sit down with the people, I tell them we are at a point where we would have to decide who is going to lead us. I am the last to speak. I want to hear what they have to say, and I need to hear their arguments, and then we can take it from there. The person in question is working in cohorts with other people, and all we are saying is we don't have a problem with East Coast, West Coast, or whatever term you want to term it, but nobody has the right, including me, to say you are the one representing everybody and this is the stance.
Well, I think the Igbo people who are residing in Lagos, because we're not mincing words, we're Igbos, whether we live here, we live in the north, or we live in the east. At this time of election, we always ask ourselves, which party will guarantee us peaceful coexistence? In other words, the freedom, the right to come in and go, the freedom and the right to reside, the freedom and the right to move about, that will not subject us to any unfair treatment in terms of discrimination, unnecessary taxation, or pushing us into extreme things that the average man will wonder, is it because he's an Igbo man? Remember, the average Igbo man develops wherever he is. And I know the Yorubas have a saying that if you go to any place you don't find an Igbo man, please go away from there. Because anybody who can stand any harsh condition is the Igbo man, and that he develops their area. If you notice their attitude, they don't hoard land if you want. If they tell you, go ahead.
Well, we'll take a short break now, but when we return, the flip side of the story. What did the Igbo community say about tradition in 2015 elections and what it entails for them? Plus, concerns on whether or not they feel safe when they go to cast their ballots. Stay with us.